Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace. She is a member of the House Oversight Committee. Let me read for our viewers something that your Chairman James Comer of Kentucky, wrote to the Customs Commissioner and Border Patrol Commissioner. He writes, "It is unclear what actions, if any, Vice President Harris has taken to fix the border crisis. One Border Patrol agent noted Vice President Harris is the border czar and has been remotely close to the border once in 4 years." He goes on to write, another claimed the vice president hasn't literally done anything and stated, "She came to the border once and we sanitized all the aliens out of there to make it look good." The committee seeks to understand whether Vice President Harris has done anything to address the worst border crisis in American history. So you're a member of this committee. How do you see it?
Well, number one, I want to say, since the mainstream media continues to prop up Kamala on her record on the border, it continues to spread the lie that she was never the border czar, even though Joe Biden said she was literally in charge of Mexico and the Northern Triangle, and mainstream media called her the border czar. It's going to be up to us to open the books and to have a real look at and scrutinize her role in the southern border, as tens of millions of illegals have openly come across, how taxpayers have funded it, and how she literally has not lifted a finger to protect the United States of America or her people in her role as border czar. And so since no one else will do it, we're going to pick up the mantle, and I support Chairman Comer in this effort and whatever investigations happen to make sure the American people know the facts and the truth, because they're not going to get it from the media.
Well, one article that I saw today about this letter suggested that, the Customs and Border Patrol was sort of outside her purview in that job that Joe Biden gave her. So the sanitizing, if that's what it is, continues. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is very disingenuous to the American people. They deserve the truth. This is a woman who doesn't support voter ID, that supports these millions of illegals coming across the border, who wants amnesty no matter what she says. And now, look, as you just mentioned early in the program, she's stealing Donald Trump's ideas. This was the woman, the vice president, who had the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which didn't support tax cuts for taxes on workers in the hospitality industry. And so I would guess if we're going to look at policies for Kamala Harris, we should look at Donald Trump's website first, because I imagine she's probably going to steal more of his ideas.
Because Joe Biden is not running, what happens to the impeachment inquiry, for instance, that the House of Representatives launched toward the sitting president? Is that just going to go away because he's sort of old news and out of the picture now?
Well, I hope that the information flow continues. Just this week, the House Oversight Committee provided information about Romania. When Joe Biden was vice president, he was lecturing Romania about corruption, and yet his family was receiving millions of dollars from a Romanian company to influence federal government agencies. This is the kind of thing that Kamala Harris supports. She hasn't spoken out against it, and we ought to know where she stands on the issues that we've uncovered in our investigation. I hope that information will continue to flow, because the mainstream media is covering up her position, is covering up the fact that she supports all of Biden's policies and trying to prop her up. And it's going to be up to us to give the American people the facts, to give them the truth, and let them make the decision on November 5th who should lead our country.
As you're talking, we have video of the vice president, emerging to speak to a crowd of supporters. She has jumped up in the polls over where President Biden was. How do you explain that, and will it last?
Well, this is certainly a bump with the announcement of her coronation, literally by the media. She didn't win a single vote in the Democrat primary for president. In fact, she never even made it to Iowa when she ran the first time. And so this will be a bump through the Democrat convention this week as she gets the formal nomination process. But I don't think people are really going to make a decision, the undecideds at least, until closer to the election, until after Labor Day. We're on the brink of war in the Middle East. You've got the markets going up and down. In fact, we're seeing, especially in the crypto market today, things are crashing left and right. Japan has influenced our markets as well. This is not someone that I don't think the American people can trust. And as we get closer to to the election as gas prices are still high, groceries are still high, as we watch Jay Powell be forced to make interest rate cuts. It just goes to show the ineptitude of the Biden-Harris administration, and she's been a long part of that for a long time, and she owns the policies of this administration. We need to make sure that we define her before November.
One of the stories going on right now in the Northeast is a hair salon owner in Boston who says that the Secret Service taped up a video camera that she had outside her business, put a piece of tape over it so that it couldn't record any of the activities on the street, and then broke into her business so that they and a bunch of other people could use her restroom. What do you think about that? What's going on with the Secret Service these days?
Well, that's literally the million-dollar question. What in the world is going on with the Secret Service? And it sounds like we need to have them back before the House Oversight Committee to get to the bottom of it and ask just that. I can't imagine what constitutional rights of that business owner were violated by the federal government with that breaking and entering and covering and trying to cover it up. And that agent should be fired immediately. Why haven't they been fired already? This footage is already out there. Surely they know who that individual was, who she was, and she should be fired by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens, but I doubt anything. I doubt anyone will actually ever be held responsible in that agency.
Yeah, the salon owner says that they picked the lock on her front door and just let themselves into her business. It doesn't sound very American to me. It'll be interesting to see.
Unconstitutional.
It'll be interesting to see if your committee calls the Secret Service back for a little more come to mama, come to papa kind of session. Congresswoman Nancy Mace.
Come to mama. We'll take that.
All right.
Yeah.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace, thank you.
Thank you, sir.